For this lesson, I will treat the past examples based on the past exam papers, quadratic equations. To make a very simple basic. Let's say problem is solved for x and then only x squared minus 4 is equals to 0. And the first thing, this problem is difference of two squares. Difference of two squares re tseba ka gore e na le two terms, and then those terms di separately ke minus sign. The word difference in mathematics in orela or minus. So re tseba ka gore e na le two terms, and then those terms di separately ke minus sign, and then those terms e tshwanetse gore e be perfect squares. So re factorize this problem re ba le two brackets always. So re tlo square these terms because these terms get perfect square. Re o square x squared it will fa x, and then re o square 4 it will fa 2. So always ka mogare ga bracket ya mathomo re ngwala those numbers re o di square, and then ra di repeat again here, and then always re ba le plus and minus sign. Gore ungwala minus kae ungwala plus kae, it's all up to you, but the fact gore the bracket ja rena e 1 e ba le plus and then e 1 e ba le minus. So from there re tlo set each bracket ra re equals to 0. So re tlo re x plus 2 is equals to 0, and then ka dira again for this one ka re x minus 2 is equals to 0. And then from there ka solve for x re la gore x is equals to minus 2. You generate these two ka isha to the other side, and then you change a sign ya ba minus. And then as for this one ka ja this minus 2 ya jump equal sign, and then ya ba positive. So re la gore this is our answer. But it turns out gore this problem re ka dira in another way. Re ka dira in this way. Re ka re x squared, and then raja this negative 4 raisha to the other side, and then here for positive. And then for the fact that this is squared, re la gore re ka cancel this square ka go insert the square root. So re la gore this root you cancel the squared. So re la gore from there x is equals to square root of 4 ke 2. But any number e tswa ka ra square root ke plus or minus. So re na le two solutions. Re la gore x is equals to positive 2, and then the other one re la gore x is equals to minus 2. So this is our answer. And then let's say re na le 3x squared minus 75 equals to 0. Re o ka lebelela this problem re na le two terms, and then ka lemoga gore di separately ke minus sign. Re la gore the chances gore this problem ke a difference of two squares. But re o ka ro try go checka this number ga se perfect square, because even 3 ga se perfect square. Re o ka tla wa re o nyaka go find a root o ka se kreye a whole number. So re la gore 75 and 3 as a perfect square. So this means re ka se kgone go apply a perfect square direct. But re na le this situation, the first thing to check o tlo tshwanela gore o check gore ga o ne the highest common factor, because re o ka lebelela for 3 and 7 re na le the highest common factor mo ile gore the highest common factor one is 3, and then from there re tlo ba le bracket, and then ba divide this term ka this one. Re la gore 3 and 3 do cancel, and then ra shela ka x squared, and then ra dira the same thing ra ja this one minus 75 ra divide ka 3, and then it will fa minus 25. And then from there o ka lemoga gore this one ke perfect square. So for the factor gore ke perfect square re la gore if this one is a perfect square re la gore re ka kgona go apply difference of two squares. So from there re tlo ba le 3 and then ra ba le 2 brackets. Ge re square this one re fa x, and then ge re square this one re fa 5. So re la gore mo re na le x and then mo re na le 5, and then ra dira the same thing. And then in terms of sign re na le plus and then re na le minus. So re la gore from there re ka solve for x, but the first thing re tlo divide ka this 3. So ge re divide ka this 3 re la gore ro ba le 0, because 3 and 3 you cancel at this side, and then 0 divided by 3 re fa 0. And then from there re la gore re na le x plus 5, and then re na le x minus 5. So from there re ka solve for x, re la gore x is equals to minus 5, and then the other one re la gore x is equals to positive 5, because ge jump by equal sign e change a sign. So re la gore x is equals to minus 5, and then or x is equals to 5. But this problem again re ka dira in this way. Re ka re 3x squared, and then ra tšea this 75 ra iša to the other side, and then from there ra divide both sides ka 3. So 3 and 3 di tlo cancela, and then re la gore x squared is equals to 75 divided by 3 ke 25, and then from there ra square both sides. So re la gore x is equals to plus or minus 5, because any number tšwa ka ga root ke plus or minus, and then square root sa 25 ke 5. So that's another way le gore ka kgona go kry the same answer. And then now let's say re na le x squared minus 9x is equals to 0. Ge o ka lebelela this one o ka lemoga gore re na le two terms di separately ke minus, but now the key thing gore for this problem re na le di variables tša go tshwana for each term. So re la gore the first thing re tlo try go ntša that variable as a common factor. So always go na le di variables tša go tshwana on those terms, take out that variable as a common factor. So re la gore o ba le x as a common factor, and then from there what divide each term ka common factor. Re la gore o ba le x squared divided by x, and then x squared divided by x ke x, and then ra dira the same thing minus 9x divided by x. Re la gore x and x di o cancela, and then from there o šala ka minus 9, and then equals to 0, and then from there re set each factor equals to 0. For the factor gore at this side ke 0, re la gore everything at this side le yona ke 0. So re la gore x is equals to 0, and then kare or x minus 9 is equals to 0. So re la gore x is equals to 0, and then or x is equals to positive 9, because ko tšea this 9 ka iša to the other side. So re la gore this is our final answer. X is equals to 0, and then x is equals to 9. And then what about 3x squared is equals to 4x? The moment o ka lemoga gore o na le two terms, and then wa lemoga gore those terms kaofela di na di variables, so the best thing tšea this one o itliše at this side, because wa tseba gore o tlo kgona go ntša a common factor. So re la gore re na le 3x squared minus 4x, and then re šala ka 0. For the factor gore re na le di variables tša go tshwana, re la gore ke tlo tšea variable as a common factor. Re la gore ke tlo ba le x, and then from there ka divide each term ka common factor. 3x squared divided by x re fa 3x, and then minus 4x divided by x re fa minus 4. and then is equals to 0. So from there re tlo dira the same thing for the fact ya gore this side ke 0 re la gore le this side e over 0. So re la gore ko ba le x is equals to 0 and then kare or 3x minus 4 is equals to 0. So re la gore x is equals to 0 and then or go tšea this minus 4 ka iša to the other side re la gore 3x is equals to positive 4 and then from there for this one ke tlo divide both sides ka 3 because ke nyaka solve for x. So re la gore 3x is equals to 4 go divide both sides ka 3. So re la gore 3 and 3 cancel and therefore re la gore x is equals to 4 over 3 and then this is our answer. And then let's say only x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equals to 0. Re o ka lebelela this one ke a trinomial e le gore is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So for this one re tlo ba le two brackets. So if always more the leading coefficient is 1, re tlo dira in this way. This is if this is 1. Ge ka ba 2 a re sa šomiša this method. So ge ka feta 1 re la gore this method a o bereke. So for this situation always re na le x and then re na le x. So the first sign always re ngwala here and then ra re negative times positive ge re nyaka go kry-a the second sign. So always re tšea this one re multiply ka this one. Ge be le positive be re tla re positive times positive and then ya re fa positive. So now re na le the signs and then from there re nyaka di factors tša constant. So the factors tša 6 obvious ke 1, 2, 3 and 6. So re nyaka two numbers tše le gore ge o di multiplier di o fa this one but ge o di adder di o fa this one, yeah, the middle term. O ka lemoga gore obvious ke 2 and 3. So always the bigger number e tšea the first sign, but for the reason ya gore di sign tša rena di a tshwana kaofela, it turns out gore le ge o ka tšea 2 o tlo kry-a the same thing. But ge le gore the signs are not the same, so it's compulsory gore o tšea ya the bigger number. So factorize it in this way and then from there re tlo set each bracket equals to 0 because on the right hand side re na le 0. So re la gore from there re na le x minus 3 equals to 0 and then or x minus 2 is equals to 0. So this means x is equals to 3 and then x is equals to positive 2. So this is our answers. This one is straightforward because it's from grade 9 and 10. So this one I no problem at all. And then let's say only minus x cube and then minus 8x squared minus of 15x is equals to 0. Re o lebelela this one re na le 3 terms, but go di terms kaofela re na le a common variable because x e occur kaofela. So ge ka ba le this situation, the first thing re tlo nyaka go tšea x as a common factor. So for this situation nka divide both sides ka negative because at this side ke na le 0, but ge o nyaka o ka no e dira straightforward wa ntšha minus x as a common factor, but nna ke nyaka go divide both sides ka negative. So re la gore ke na le x cube and then plus 8x squared and then ka ba le 15x and then equals to 0. So from there ke nyaka go ntšha x as a common factor. So re la gore ko ba le this one and then from there x cube divide by x you fa x squared because it's like, so re la gore ro ba le x to the power 3 minus 1 and then obvious ke x squared. because ga re divider re na le di-base tša go tshwana, re tša exponent ka godimo ra e minus ka ya ka fase, so ke na le x squared. And then for this one, 8x squared divided by x, re la gore yo mfa 8x because x e 1 you cancel this one. And then 15x divided by x, re la gore ke go ba le 15. And then from there o ka lemoga gore this is a trinomial le gore re ka factorize go tshwana le ya the previous one. Re la gore re na le x, and then so re la gore go ba le x here, and then ka ba le x, and then the first sign always re ngwala for the fact gore the leading coefficient is 1, re la gore ka dira the same thing, so mo re na le plus, and then this one times this one, positive times positive e re fa positive. And then from there re nyaka di factors tša 15, and then re nyaka gore ge o di multiplier di o fe this one, and then ge o di adder di o fe this one. O ka lemoga gore ke 5 and 3. So from there re la gore Rosetta each factor is equals to 0, so re la gore x is equals to 0, and then x is equals to minus 5, and then x is equals to minus 3, because ke tšere this one ya jump by equal sign, and then ka dira the same thing at this one. So re la gore as our answers, x is equals to 0, and then x is equals to minus 5, and then x is equals to minus 3. And then let's say re na le minus 5x squared minus 5x equals to minus 30. Ge o ka lebelela this one, still o ka lemoga gore ke a trinomial le gore is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, just that this constant now e ka mo side le lengwe. So the first thing re tlo try gore re tliše at this side, so this means re tlo ba le minus 5x squared minus 5x, and then ya change a sign ya ba positive, and then equals to 0. From there lemoga gore re na le this 5 as a common factor, because 5 e gona is this one, the same here and the same here. So re la gore the first thing re tlo try gore re divide everything this minus 5. So ge re divide ka minus 5 re la gore re tlo ba le x squared, and then mo re tlo ba le plus x, and then 30 divided by 5 is 6, so positive 30 divided by minus 5 re la gore tlo re fa minus 6, and then equals to 0. And then from there o ka lemoga gore this problem e tshwana le ya the previous one mo ile gore the leading coefficient ke 1, so re la gore re tlo dira the same thing. So mo re na le x, and then mo re na le x, and then the first sign always re ngwala, which is positive, and then from there positive times negative ke negative, and then re nyaka di factors tša 6. Ge re di multiplier di re fe this one, but ge re di adder di re fe positive 1, so o ka lemoga gore ke 3 and 2, and then this time around di sign ga di tshwane, so re la gore is compulsory gore the first bracket e tše the bigger number, between 3 and 2 e kgolo ke 3, so that is why ke thomile ka 3. And then from there re la gore x is equals to minus 3, and then x is equals to positive 2. So this is our answers. And then let's say only x minus 5, and then x plus 12. Ge o ka lebelela this one ke quadratic, and then already is factorized, and then for the factor gore the other side ke 0, re la gore even this side e tshwanetse gore e be 0, therefore re tlo seta each bracket to 0. Re la gore re tlo re x minus 5 is equals to 0, and then or x plus 12 is equals to 0. Therefore our x is equals to 5, and then x is equals to minus 12. Remember this is the only step solver lead marks. So just because automileka or x minus 5 is equals to 0, it doesn't mean or auto create a mark for that. So this is the only important step. So this is our answer anyway. And then let's say only 2x, and then x minus half is equals to 0. I already did the same thing because this problem actually is similarly the previous one. But the key thing or the other side is equals to 0. So currently this situation they are the same thing. 2x is equals to 0, and then x minus half is equals to 0, and therefore resolve for x. This one divider 2, and then 2 and 2 cancel, and then our x is equals to 0, and then as for this one it will just minus half to the other side. So this means x is equals to half, and then this is our answer. What about 2x minus 4, and then let's say 3 to the exponent x, and then minus 27 equals to 0. And then even this one is a similar problem, even though this one is exponential. But for the reason this side is 0, even this side is 0. Remember equal sign dilo di a lekana. If this is 0, expect this side is 0. If this bracket is 0, obvious even this one is 0, because 0 times anything is 0. So that is why always multiplication, even if recoverly something like x plus 2, as long as this side is 0, even this one is 0, because this side is 0, either this one or this one is 0. And then if this is 0, even this one is 0, because the multiplier, so 0 times anything it will for 0. So that is why always for a 0 get we equate to 0. So ranale 2x minus 4 is equals to 0, and then the same thing, 3 to the exponent x minus 27 is equals to 0. And therefore 2x is equals to 4. This minus 4 can share to the other side, and then as for this one, 3 to the exponent x is equals to positive 27. And then because kinyaga x it will divide both sides coefficient, so this one and this one they cancel. Therefore x is equals to 4 divided by 2 get 2. And then as for this one, be careful because this is exponent. So because this is exponent, expect the base so that equate those exponents. So nga change this 27 into 3 cube because ke lemogile mo ke na le 3. So I change this one 3 to the power x is equals to 3 cube. And then now because the base is on go equate the exponents, so x is equals to 3, and then this is our answers. And then let's say ranali x, and then x plus 2 equals to minus 1. This problem is similarly the previous examples, but the only difference now for this one, this side has 0. If this side is 0, everything is 0, because equal sign e rera gore dilo di a lekana. And then ra tseba gore if this is 0 e rela gore re expecta gore either this part or this part e nngwe ke 0, and then if this one e ka ba 0 e rela gore even this one ke 0, or if this one e ka ba 0 e rela gore even this one ke 0, because 0 times anything ke 0. But as for this one o ka se re x is equals to minus 1. Remember gore if this is minus 1, yes, even this part e rela gore ke minus 1, but what if this one ke 2, and then what if this one ke negative half? So 2 times negative half e re fa negative 1. So wa bona gore it's not always the case gore if this number is this one e rela gore even this one e tla ba the same, because many things can happen gore re be le negative 1 for this side. What if this one ke negative 3 over 4, and then what if this part ke 4 over 3? Still re tlo kry negative 1. Negative 3 over 4 times 4 over 3 e re fa negative 1. So ge re na le this situation ga re thome ka gore this side e lekana le negative 1. So re tlo thoma pele ra multiplier a bracket. So re na le x squared and then x times 2, and then re na le plus 2x. o ka lemoga gore re na le a quadratic. So ke tlo tšea this minus 1 ka itliša to this side, and then ya ba positive, and then this side ka šala ka 0, and then from there ra factorize. o ka lemoga gore this problem e tshwana le ya the previous examples. So mo ra ba le x, and then ra ba le x, and then mo ra ba le positive, and then even here ra ba le positive. So mo ya ba 1, and then mo ya ba 1, because remember gore ke rile always this sign ra e beya, and then for this one re tšea this one re multiply ka this one, and then that is why re na le positive kaofela, and then re nyaka di factors tša 1 ge re di multiplier di re fe this one, ge re di adder di re fe the middle term, and then from there re la gore x is equals to minus 1. So there is no need to get x is equals to minus 1 or x is equals to minus 1, because it's the same thing. So in conclusion re la gore x is equals to minus 1. Actually nna ntwe be ke try go highlighta fela mo ke gore if the other side o na le a certain number o ska thoma ka go equate, o tlo tshwanela gore o multiply out that bracket. So that was the only thing be ke try go highlighta here. So that's it for this problem anyway. Let's say o na le x at x minus 9, and then plus 14 is equals to 0. Ge o na le this problem re tseba gore this part usually very equator to 0 because ka mo re na le 0, but now because o na le a certain number here re la gore e ka se kgonege, because re ba le 0 ge e le gore this part plus this 14 is equals to 0. So ka se tšee this part wa re equals to 0. So ge o na le this situation re la gore o tlo thoma pele wa multiplier this bracket, x times x ke x squared, and then x times minus 9 ke minus 9x, and then plus 14 is equals to 0. ka lemoga gore this is quadratic. re la gore mo re na le x, and then mo ra ba le x, and then minus, and then minus, and then ra ba le 7, and then ra ba le 2, because this example e no tshwana le ya the previous examples. So na actually be ke nyaka go no highlighta gore ge o ka dira gore o be le a certain number here o se be wa tšea this part wa re e lekana le 0. So from there re la gore x is equals to 7, and then or x is equals to 2. So this is our answer. So be careful before we equate her to 0. Not always the case, or if the right hand side is 0 re la gore this part re equate her to 0. And then let's say on a x minus 2, and then all squared minus 4, is equals to 0. Still re ka se equate anything to 0. A rela gore the first thing re ka thoma pele ra expanda this bracket. Re expanda this bracket, remember gore ro ba le bracket tše pedi. So ge re multiply those brackets re la gore re go ba le x squared and then minus 4x and then plus 4. Remember gore this is the same as x minus 2 and then x minus 2. So x times x ke x squared and then x times minus 2 ke minus 2x and then this one times this one ke minus 2x and then minus 2 times minus 2 ke positive 4, and then from there ra add the like terms minus 2x and then ke minus 4x. So that is why le nna ke na le x squared minus 4x plus 4, and then from there remember gore re na le minus 4 here which is equals to 0. So this means re na le x squared minus 4x and then o lemoga gore this one and this one they cancel because ke 4 minus 4 and then it's equals to 0. Now o ka lemoga gore this problem e tshwana le ya the previous examples mo ile gore ge re na le two terms mo ile gore re na le a common factor, re ntšha common factor, so re tlo tšea x as a common factor and then mo ra tšea x and then ra šala ka minus 4 and then it's equals to 0 because this example e tshwana le ya the previous examples. And then from there I can say x is equals to 0 and then or x minus 4 is equals to 0. This is because this side is 0 and then at this side ga re ne anything closer here, so now we can say this part e le kana le 0. So this means x is equals to 0 or x is equals to positive 4, which are this negative 4 a jumbo equal sign. So this is our final answer. And then this one re solve for x and then mo ba botša gore correct your answer to 2 decimal places. The moment o ka re solve any quadratic, if fa ka o botša gore o round off your answer, this means that quadratic ga ene di-factors, because not all the quadratics di na di-factors. Sometimes the quadratic tše dingwe ga di na di-factors, because ra tseba gore always ge o bona quadratic the first thing o nagana ka two brackets. This is if o na le di-factors, but ge o sena di-factors re la gore o gapeletša gore o šomiše a quadratic formula. So that is why ba go direct here gore o round off your answer. So this means re tlo šomiša a quadratic and then ra tseba gore this is a and then this one ke b and then this one ke c. So re la gore for quadratic re tlo re x is equals to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac and then divide by 2a. So from there ka substitute b ya ka ke 3, so re la gore ke na le minus 3 plus or minus b squared minus 4 and then a ke 2 and then c ke minus 7 divide by 2a. A is 2. From there ke na le minus 3 and then plus or minus. E go fihla at this step, press this part ka calculator. 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times minus 7 o bone gore e go fa bokae. Go ka pressa this part it will fa 65. Remember gore in your exam this part your simplifier ga ine di marks, so when o ka try to simplify and then wa end up o dira a mistake ya costa everything. So that is why this part ke nyaka we press ka calculator. So ka mfa re na le 2 times 2 which is 4, and then from there re nyaka solve for x because re na le two solutions, ya mathomo e re ke plus and then e nngwe ke minus. So re la gore re tlo re x is equals to minus 3 and then the first one ra shumisha plus sign and then mo re na le 65 and then mo re na le 4. So ge ka pressa this part ka calculator kaofela yona e tlo fa 1 point something, and then because ba re round off into two decimal places e tlo re fa 1.27. This one ke answera ya rena ya plus, and then now re nyaka go find ya minus. So e rela gore re tlo re x is equals to minus 3 and then now ra bea minus, and then it will fa negative 2.77 because re round off into two decimal places. So this is our answer anyway. And then what about this one? Remember always this side ga se 0 e rela gore wena o ka se re x is equals to 1 ebile o ka se re 7x plus 2 is equals to 1. E rela gore the first thing o tlo multiply this bracket, and then o ka multiply this bracket o tlo ba le a quadratic, and then the moment ba o direct mo gore correct your answer to decimal places e rela gore ke quadratic mo ile gore o tlo tshwana go shumishe a quadratic formula. So the first thing re tlo multiply this one, re tlo x times 7x and then re fa 7x squared, and then x times 2 re fa 2x, and then ka tšea this one ka itlisha to this side ya ba minus 1 is equals to 0. Now o ka kgona bona gore is a quadratic, and then ra tseba gore because ba rile re round off re la gore this thing ga ine factors, and then re shumisha quadratic formula. So this is a, b and c. So from there re la gore x is equals to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac and then divide by 2a. So b are naki positive 2 plus or minus, and then b is 2 and then minus 4, and then a is 7, and then c is minus 1, and then kabali 2 times 7, and then from there ranale minus 2 plus. So oppressor this part ka calculator, and then wabona gore o fa bokae, because kirile it's not necessary gore o simplify that part, and then go press the calculator it will fa 32, and then come fa renale 14. So from there re nyaka find answer ya rena ya plus or minus. So re la gore x is equals to minus 2 plus root 32 and then over 14, and then I did the same thing, x is equals to minus 2 minus root 32 and then over 14, and then go press this part alone ka calculator it will fa 0.26, and then this one it will fa negative 0.55. So this is our answers. And then what about this one? Ge o ka lebelela this one o kgona bona gore still le yona ke quadratic, but this problem in all the factors. This means re expect gore re be le two brackets, but remember always if the leading coefficient ga se 1, re la gore o ka se kgona go šomiša that same method o be re o šomišago wa go beya this x here and this x here, and then wa tšea this sign wa e beya here, and then wa re this one times this one di fa this sign. This is because the leading coefficient ga se 1. This means o gapeletšaga gore šomiše di-methods tsa go tshwana le bo factoring, by grouping, cross methods, those things. So it was a bit challenging because those methods ke a process. Nna ke nyaka go bontšha gore ge o na le any quadratic o ka kgona go šomiša quadratic formula wa finder the factors. Actually for this problem ga re factorize by quadratic, re no šomiša that quadratic go kry-a di-factors fela ra di beya ka mogare ga di-bracket. So this is our A, and then B, and then C. So ke nyaka go bontšha re dira bjang. Re tlo re x is equals to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac, and then divide by 2a, and then from there ka substitute b ke 14, and then my a ke 8, and then c ke minus 15, and then divide by 2a, and then a ke 8. From this step ke nyaka gore o press everything ka calculator, because ga ke nyake go solve this problem ka quadratic, ke nyaka fela go kry-a di-factors. So pressa this thing kaofela o tlo re minus 14, and then war plus, and then war open the root, war 14 squared minus 4, and then war 8 war times minus 15, and then war divide by 2 times 8, and then ge o fetša wa dira the same thing but wa nokela minus. So ge o ka dira in that way o noketše plus, e rela gore x ya gago e tlo fa 3/4, and then ge o ka nokela minus sign e tlo fa -5/2. From there o tlo tšea this 3/4 wa e tliša ka mo saeteng la x, so rela gore o na le x minus 3/4, and then rela gore wa šala ka 0, because ge jumpa this equal sign and then e change a sign e ba negative. Ge o na le fraction in this case o nyaka go cancela this fraction, o tlo multiply ka denominator ya this fraction, and then o multiply everything, remember. So rela gore this 4 you cancela this 4, rela gore o šala fela ka 4x and then minus 3, because 4 and 4 they cancel go šala minus 3, and then on that side you over 0. So re tlo dira the same thing ka this one, o tlo ba le x plus 5/2, because o tlo itšea wa e tliša ka mo x, and then rela gore yo change a sign, and then ya ba positive, and then on this side wa šala ka 0. Because this is fraction, rela gore re tlo multiply ka denominator ya this fraction, which is 2, and then from there rela gore this one and this one do cancel, so 2 times x ke 2x, so rela gore na le 2x plus 5, because 2 and 2 di cancel. So from there rela gore in our brackets re nokela this part and this part, so rela gore re na le 4x minus 3, and then re na le 2x plus 5. Remember gore o thoma ka efeng ka re ga bracket, it doesn't matter, at the end is the same thing. So rela gore now o kry-ile di-factors. Actually this quadratic formula e be re šomiša fela gore re kgone go kry-a this part and this part. In your exam wena o ka se bontšhe this quadratic formula and then all those things, wena o dira fela gore o kry-e di-factors, and then after finding those factors wa di beya in your bracket. So be ke no bontšha fela gore o ka kgona go šomiša a quadratic formula wa factorizer any quadratic mo e le gore e na le di-factors. but o avoid o shumisha those methods tsa tshwana le bo cross methods, those challenging methods. So ka shumisha a quadratic formula. And then ke na le another video mo e le gore ke solve quadratic equations ke shumisha quadratic formula. So ka no lebella that video for better understanding. So from there e rela gore ge o solve for x, obvious your x it will fa 3/4, and then obvious this one it will fa minus 5/2 because already re dirile ka quadratic. Remember or it's just the same thing because from here we go 4x minus 3 is equals to 0, and then worry or 2x plus 5 is equals to 0, and then 4x is equals to 3, and then 2x is equals to minus 5, and then from there we divide. So your x is equals to 3/4, and then already I did like a quadratic, so I feel this one because this is the same thing, and then we divide 2, or this one and this one cancel, therefore x is equals to minus 5/2. So when I want those steps are quadratic because o tla bonya ka go factorize o be le 2 brackets, so bonya ka fela factors e rela gore global is something like this one. So this is our answer anyway.